Hi guys, so I have with me here to unbox the Meizu E2. This is their latest budget phone. Just recently came out, literally about 3-4 weeks ago. I ordered it off AliExpress. So it's still got the factory seal wrap on there, which is great. So this model is powered by a Helio P20. That's an octa-core, it has 3 gigabytes of RAM, and you can see my particular model has 32 gigabytes of storage. I think the highest you can get is 64. Dual SIM. 5.5-inch screen, 1080p, and it is running Flyme OS, their own skin or launcher, you could say, on top of Android 7 there. So at least the seller did do as I requested to not remove the factory wrapper, because a lot of them will still just go ahead and do that, which I find quite annoying. I asked them to leave it alone, but they still go ahead and do it. So there we have the mobile, which feels reasonably light. I'll put that aside for just a second. We've got a SIM tool here, of course, to open up that dual SIM tray. Flyme, little instruction manual here, quick start guide. That is all in Chinese. And this looks to be just something on the specs by the looks of it, or possibly support or something. So here's the charger, which I think is going to support that MediaTek Pump Express. And that charger is rated to 9 volts, 2 amps. We also get a micro USB 2 to standard size USB cable there for charging and data. So on the front of the E2, you can see we've got an 8 megapixel front facing camera, the ambient light sensor proximity sensor, that's to the right of the earpiece, and a SIM tray which is on the upper left there. You can see the antenna line along the back. And on the rear we have a 13 megapixel camera with a quad LED flash, which is a little unusual, you don't normally see that. And here's the SIM tray, so it will take either 2 nano SIMs, or you can use just 1 nano SIM, give up the other one, and use a micro SD card to expand upon the storage. On the top of the mobile, this is just a secondary mic. I thought it might be an IR transmitter, but on closer inspection, only a mic. On the right side of the device, the volume buttons, power button, these are made out of metal, and they feel really good. They don't rattle around, which is also great. On the bottom, a 3.5mm headphone jack, microphone for voice calls, then the micro USB 2 port, loudspeaker, and it is screwed in place with some torque screws there. The home button incorporates a fingerprint reader, and it's a click-in style and would also be capacitive. So it comes in at 7.73mm thin, which is good, but of course the camera does bulge out a little bit, and that increases it to 8.3mm, but still overall very good. And it weighs in at 161 grams, so it's quite light. Okay, so time to power it up. Of course, I need to remove that screen protector that's on there. That's just for transit. So first boot is going to take a little while. That's to be expected. And it looks like it's going to start up in Chinese too. So we've got Asian languages and English. That is it. So the screen, first impressions, looks good. We do have that rather ugly black bezel that's going around the outside there. And I can see it is detecting wireless AC networks, which is good. So it's supporting the 5 GHz band. And I can set up my fingerprint, which I'll do now just to see what it's like. Okay, I need a password, of course, to start out with. Okay, it's vibrating straight away. Need to move my finger a little bit and do this 10 times, of course. Okay. Standard theme. Well, let's get started. Okay, this is just a little setup thing. Okay, so bloatware. Before I actually look on bloatware, have a look and see how this unlocks. Okay, so I need to press down and wake the phone first. It's not a straight unlock. But it's quite quick, you can see that. When I do actually wake it up and do it all in one motion, that is reasonably fast. So not too bad. So there are quite a few bloatware applications on there. If you have a look at that, we've got Kuna Travel, Weibo, and all those other Chinese things. Most of this we should just be able to uninstall and get rid of all of that. So here's a quick look at the keyboard. You can see it's got a nice layout on there, the English keyboard, and it doesn't seem to be as annoying as some of those other ones can from the likes of Xiaomi's default keyboard. I find to be very frustrating, but I probably will end up dumping this and going with the Gboard, which of course is Google Keyboard. And upon connecting up to the internet, it's telling me there is a new version of the OS, so that's Flyme 6.0.3.2y, which I will download and install. So here's the stock camera application. We have a few options here, the typical ones you see on most mobiles there. So high dynamic range, you can disable that. Various different filters by the looks of it. And here in the settings, we can add things like a level, guidelines, and the photo size goes all the way up to 13 megapixels, of course, on the back, and the front 8 megapixels for your selfies there. In video mode, video resolutions, all the way up to 1080p on both front and back cameras, which is really good because a lot of these budget mobiles, only the front camera will do for 80p VGA resolution, which is really disappointing. At least we're not going to have that problem with this mobile. Now there are various different modes going into that. So we've got Pro mode, which is all your manual settings, macro, and really straightforward there. You can see there's also slow-mo. And just getting out of that, have a look what options we get with Pro. So we can control the shutter rate, ISO, the focus point, and our exposure levels. So here is a look at the front-facing camera. I'll start out with this one first, so we can record up to 1080p as I just showed you before. And you don't normally get this option on budget smartphones. It just goes up to around 480 or 720p maximum. I can see that the exposure does adjust quite abruptly at times there, you can see. So let's have a look now at the rear-facing camera, which is 13 megapixels and also shoots in 1080p. This is the rear camera now. Quality seems to be decent for the price. Now I don't think it does have automatic or continuous autofocus. No, you have to do tap to focus. But the audio quality doesn't seem too bad from what I've heard so far. And overall, okay for this type of mobile. You can't really expect super good quality. So if you're not familiar with Flyme, their skin, their OS that they use on here, it's a little different because they don't have the back key and menu key in the normal location you find on Android phones. So the home button acts as our back key. So when you're in an application, for example, if I just go to the App Store here, tapping it just goes back. Double tap will launch the camera from anywhere. So quick launch it. And swiping up is our task manager to swap between applications, and then you can kill off everything, of course, there and free up the memory. So the phone does not come with Google Play installed. This is always the case with the phones out of China. Most of them don't have it unless, of course, it already has a global ROM on there that your seller or someone has installed for you. But if you go into the app store that they have on there and you just type in Google Play, one of these here should be the Google Play installer. If not, there are other ways to get that off the internet, but you can find those Google applications you want. You can see here, we've got Google Maps, Google Play Music, Google Keyboard, Photos, and the rest of it there can be installed from their app store. So I ran that Google Services installer and it hasn't given me a play icon. You can see that it's not actually here in the launcher. So you have to go through the GMS installer and then you can open Google Play. But it seems like it is going to work here, so it's not going to be a problem. You see it's going through that normal setup menu and everything. So let's have a listen to the single loudspeaker it has on the bottom. So it isn't the loudest loudspeaker I've heard. It does peak just then at 96, but really it's actually a lot lower than that. It hovers around the 81 as you just saw there. It does vibrate too at 100%. There is a slight hint of bass in there, mostly just bass and treble, not really that much in mids, only a little. I've put the mobile onto manual brightness at the moment just to show you the brightness of the screen, because normally by default it's on auto brightness. So that's the dimmest setting there, which is very dim. So that's going to be good for using it late at night without damaging or hurting your eyes. And then maximum brightness completely overpowers my current settings I have on my camera. It is very bright. So the ROM performance seems good to me so far. Using it, I haven't seen too much in the way of lag, but when you do a bit of multitasking, I've noticed some slowdown there. Now just go quickly into Chrome just to show you the browser performance. Reasonably good. For some reason, the scroll doesn't seem that fast. I don't know whether that's to do with the touch input from the screen, but I'm not having any problems using the Google keyboard, getting around and typing. That is very accurate and fast here. So that's it there for the E2. So far, it looks like a really decent mobile phone for the price. I'm impressed with the performance of the UI. It works quite well. You are going to see some Chinese characters in there, of course, and it doesn't come with Play Store pre-installed, but it's not too hard just to go into their own store and then download that installer as I showed you before previously in this video. Build quality is really good. We've got 2.5D glass, a very nice bright screen too, and the weight of it feels nice. It's quite light at 161 grams, and overall, top quality build. Again, for the price you're getting there. Fingerprint unlock is fast, but you must wake the device first. Apart from that, the camera is probably the biggest downside here, and then I will need to check out things like the performance, gaming performance, benchmarks, and battery life. Thanks a lot for watching this preview unboxing of the Meizu E2, and I hope to catch you back in the channel soon. If you have any questions, please let me know down in the comments.